This is Michael Ostrolenk, and I'm with Congressman Jones, conservative Republican from North Carolina, and we're going to talk about Korus, the Korean so-called free trade deal. Congressman Jones, you oppose the Korea free trade deal. Why is that?
Michael, thank you for saying the supposed free trade agreement. There are no free trade agreements up here. They're one-way trade agreements. They benefit the country that we signed the agreement with and not the American people, and that's why I'm opposed to it. I've been opposed to WTO. I've been opposed to so many of the trade efforts. I've been in Congress for 9 terms, and it just comes down to the fact, when are we going to start caring more about American jobs? When are we going to start caring more about having fair trade agreements? I know that's an overused term, but it's a fair term. It's an honest term. Fair trade, not just free trade, but fair trade means we benefit in America, the other country benefits, we all win. That's not what's happening. The Korean Free Trade Agreement, in my opinion, it challenges the sovereignty of this country. In addition, it will give benefits to the Koreans that it will not give to the Americans. So we're not on a fair standing as far as being fair. It just continues to be that, and I think it's a benefit for China, to be honest with you. No, it doesn't say China in the trade agreement, but you watch, and I hope I would be wrong, but if this should become the law of the land, I guarantee you somehow China will benefit working with the Koreans. I hope that people watching this show will pick up the phone and call their member of Congress and say, for God's sakes, during this recession, when we're losing American jobs every day, it's not a time to pass any trade agreement, because we're going to lose jobs, not gain jobs. I really don't, when you hear the President say, well, it's going to create 70,000 jobs. Well, you talk to the textile people, and I have letters from them. They say they're going to lose jobs. We'll probably lose double what he says we're going to gain. America doesn't need that. So I hope that those who are watching this show will pick up the phone and ask their member of Congress in this environment, in this recession, not to pass the Korean trade agreement.
In my conversations with various conservatives and Tea Party folks, I do hear of concern around the sovereignty issues, and you brought that up. The fact that Korean companies stationed here in the United States can take the U.S. government to court at international tribunals, whether the UN or the World Bank. Can you speak to that?
Well, to me, I'm not a constitutional scholar, but I have an understanding of the Constitution. I think the founders of this nation, those who wrote the Constitution, would be very disappointed if they knew that we would have a tribunal of 3 to judge America. And I understand that in many of these cases you would have one of the judges would be an American and the other 2 would be from other countries. So they're going to be making decisions that impact on the American businesses. It doesn't make any sense to me. I'm not an isolationist, I'm not a protectionist, but you know what? It goes back to that word. Let's have fair trade. This bill is not a fair trade legislation. We need to get the American people to say, in this deep recession, let's not have any trade agreements because we sacrifice America.
Another concern that I hear from especially national security conservatives is the Kaesong industrial zone in the north, which benefits the north and the south. And the fact that this free trade zone will allow for hard currency, American money, to head through the south into the north and possibly help the North Koreans with their militarization, their nuclear missile programs, et cetera, et cetera.
Michael, that's a legitimate concern, because there's no way that we can guarantee that if this trade agreement becomes reality, that monies that go from America to Korea will not end up in North Korea. There's no way you can guarantee that it will not happen. So why even take the chance? I mean, America right now is in the weakest, at the weakest point it's been since I was born. I was born in 1943. America is in a very deep, deep recession. We've got our own problems here. We don't need to be having trade agreements where the money might end up with an enemy. It makes no sense.
Thank you, Congressman Jones.
Thank you, Mike.